You know, a lot of you have seen boxing, but maybe not a lot of you have ever seen a street fight. A street fight is a very, very different thing. With boxing, there's a lot of rules, but in a street fight, all bets really are off. Can you imagine if I got in between two people who were getting ready to fight, and I said, guys, first of all, we need to understand the rules. So I wrote some of them down here. All right, we're going to follow the Queensberry's rules of boxing. You must stay within a 24-foot square. There's no wrestling or hugging allowed. The rounds will be 3 minutes in duration with 1 minute between each round. If one man falls, the other opponent must go to his corner, and this contest will be governed by the revised rules of the London Prize Ring. Now, I think you'll agree with me that after they, in fact, beat me up, they will immediately ignore all of those rules because in a street fight, all bets are off. Guys, that's what happened here with Elijah. It's kind of wild because Elijah took on the false prophets of Baal. And if you notice in the story, they never agreed to the terms he put out there. But what were they supposed to do? Baal was the god of storms and lightning. So it would seem like by Elijah saying, we'll let fire come down from heaven, that'll be the God that is true, it's kind of to their favor. How were they supposed to walk away from that? What were they going to do? They had to accept that because he said, I'll play on your terms. His intention was to show them to be fakes and phonies and frauds, to help them, if you will, to have to handle this. He handled it in such a shrewd way that he exposed them for exactly who they were. Guys, listen, if you and I are going to fight on God's behalf, we're going to be fighting against the enemy, which is Satan's team. And in the process of that, we should expect that they're going to play dirty. And so if we're going to be involved in a street fight, we have to have a certain amount of street smarts. You and I have to expect that Satan will always cheat. He will always play dirty. He'll always go the wrong direction. And we have to learn to outmaneuver him before he actually plays in a very dirty way. We learn to fight in a shrewd way. Kind of like this. If you think about it, and I didn't have a dodgeball, but when we were back like in third grade or whatever, we played dodgeball. And if you remember, you could just dodge and try and get away from them doing that. But if you really wanted to win, eventually, you had to a little bit go on the offensive and try and catch the ball or whip it and hit them with it. To win, you had to go on the offensive. You had to be able to do that. Guys, the same thing is going to be true spiritually with us. But we want to make sure that the enemy doesn't determine the rules. So we want to be able to understand, we want to force them to defend their position, their belief system, to show how it doesn't work in the real world while ours really does work in the real world. And we put the enemy back on his heels because we learn, if you will, to fight in a street fight. And we know how to do that, to do it shrewdly. We do it like Elijah did, put them in a position where they have to defend their position, and it shows to everybody around it doesn't work while God's really does. Let's do that this week.